This is HOA Karma Files, and I have the paper trail. My name is Derek. I am a rideshare driver in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I depend on my car being available every single day. I moved to Heritage Oaks Terrace last year because the rent was decent and the location worked for my routes. The HOA seemed normal at first, just another homeowners association with too many rules and too much time. I was wrong. The Heritage Oaks Terrace Association is a machine built to drain you, and the woman running it, Melissa Brown, uses towing and parking enforcement like a weapon. I am saving for a down payment on a house. Every dollar counts, and the HOA is trying to bleed me dry with bogus fees and predatory towing. The first sign of trouble came 3 weeks ago when I parked in a guest spot after a late shift and found a warning sticker slapped on my windshield the next morning. I peeled the sticker off and read the fine print. Violation notice, unauthorized use of guest parking by resident, fine pending. I had parked there because my assigned spot was blocked by a moving truck, and I got home at 2 in the morning. The guest spots were empty. I figured it was no big deal. Park there for one night, move in the morning. Apparently that logic does not fly at Heritage Oaks Terrace. I walked over to the HOA office that afternoon to explain. Melissa Brown, the communications director, was behind the desk. She is a middle-aged white woman with blonde hair and a short bob, always wearing a white cardigan and a gray baseball cap like she is ready to patrol the neighborhood at a moment's notice. She looked up at me and smiled in a way that made my stomach drop. "You parked in a guest spot," she said. "I did. My assigned spot was blocked," I said. "I moved my car this morning." "Guests cannot be residents," she said, "even temporarily. You signed the covenants, now you live the covenants." I stared at her. "That does not make sense," I said. "Guest spots are for guests. I am a resident." "I get that. But my spot was blocked. What was I supposed to do? Park on the street and get a city ticket?" She leaned back in her chair. "The covenants are clear," she said. "Residents may not use guest parking under any circumstances. The fine is $75. You can pay online through the portal or mail a check." $75 for parking in an empty spot for 6 hours, I said. "The rule exists to ensure guests have access," she said. "If residents start using guest spots, where do guests park?" "There were 4 empty guest spots when I parked," I said. "There were still 4 empty spots when I left." She shrugged. "The rule is the rule," she said. "I have done this before, and people fold every time." That line stuck with me. I have done this before, and people fold every time. She said it like she was proud of it, like breaking people was part of the job description. I paid the fine because I did not have time to fight it. I had a flight early the next morning for a family thing, and I could not risk being blocked in or towed overnight. But I started paying attention after that. I started noticing things. The Heritage Oaks Terrace Association runs what they call a compliance hotline. It is a phone number residents can call to report violations. Sounds reasonable until you realize Melissa controls it. She writes the complaints herself, she decides what gets escalated, and she is the one who calls the tow company. The neighborhood is full of car photos and accusations on the portal. Every day there is a new post. Silver sedan parked too close to the fire lane. Call the hotline. Blue truck in a guest spot overnight. Call the hotline. Red hatchback with an expired decal. Call the hotline. The pattern became obvious fast. Melissa was running a shakedown operation, and the tow company was her enforcement arm. I started documenting everything. I took photos of my assigned spot every morning. I kept payment confirmations for every HOA fee. I saved every email and every portal notification. I was not going to let her catch me slipping. 2 weeks passed, and I thought maybe the whole thing was over. Then I came home from a long shift and found a tow truck backed up to my car with its amber strobe flashing. I ran over. The driver was a young guy in a reflective vest, already hooking the lift under my rear axle. I yelled at him to stop. He looked up. "This your car?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "Why are you towing it?" He held up a clipboard. "Got a call from the HOA," he said. "Unauthorized parking, no valid decal." "I have a decal," I said. "It is right there on the windshield." He walked around and looked. He frowned. I see it, he said. Then why are you towing me? I asked. He shrugged. Lady called and said you were in violation, he said. She sounded pretty sure. Melissa, I said. He did not confirm, but he did not need to. A tow truck with a distinctive amber strobe is Melissa's signature move. I had seen it 3 times in the past 2 weeks, always at night, always targeting cars she claimed were in violation. The driver was already reaching for his radio when Melissa walked out of the office building, with a portable folding sign stand in one hand and a handheld radio in the other. She was wearing her usual white cardigan and gray baseball cap. She looked at me and smiled. You again, she said into the radio, loud enough for everyone to hear. Tow it. I have a valid decal, I said. He already checked. Your decal expired last week, she said. You were supposed to renew online. You did not. That makes this an unauthorized vehicle. I renewed it, I said. I have the confirmation email. She raised the radio to her mouth again. Tow it, she repeated. The driver looked between us. He looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, he said, if he has proof of renewal, I cannot tow without verifying the violation. Melissa's face went red. I am the compliance director, she said. I am telling you this vehicle is in violation. Tow it now or I will call your supervisor and tell him you refused a valid HOA request. The driver hesitated. He looked at me. You got that email on you, he asked. I pulled out my phone and showed him the confirmation. Decal renewed, valid through next year, payment processed. He looked at it, then looked at Melissa. This says he is good, he said. She stepped closer, dragging the sign stand behind her. The system has not updated yet, she said. Until it updates, he is in violation. You signed the covenants, now you live the covenants. The driver shook his head. I am not towing a car with valid proof of renewal, he said. If the system is wrong, that is on you, not him. Melissa stared at him. Then she lifted the radio again and said something I could not hear. A moment later, a second voice came through the speaker. Older, male, asking what the problem was. She explained. Her voice sharp and clipped. The driver took the radio and explained his side. There was a long pause. Then the voice on the other end said, Stand down. If he has proof, we are not liable. Melissa lowered the radio. She looked at me with pure venom. This is not over, she said. You think you won something here. You did not. I will find another violation. I always do. She turned and walked away, dragging the sign stand behind her. The driver unhooked my car and drove off. I stood there shaking, not from fear, from rage. I kept my voice low because my trump card needed perfect timing. I did not say anything to her. I just got in my car and drove to the public library. I needed to do some research. That night, I filed a records request with the city. I asked for any complaints, incident reports, or enforcement actions involving the Heritage Oaks Terrace Association in the past 2 years. I also asked for any complaints against Melissa Brown personally. It cost me $20 and 3 business days. While I waited, I kept my head down. I parked in my assigned spot. I avoided the guest spots. I made sure my decal was visible. I did not give her any openings. But Melissa does not need openings. She makes them. 4 days later, I woke up at 2 in the morning to my phone buzzing. It was a neighbor, a guy named Marcus who works security at a nearby office park. He sent me a video with no text. I opened it. The timestamp said 11:40 at night. The video showed Melissa walking through the parking lot with a roll of orange stickers and a flashlight. She stopped at my car, looked around, then slapped a warning sticker on my windshield. The whole thing was on camera. Marcus had been walking his dog and filmed it from a safe distance. I saved the video immediately and sent Marcus a thank you text. Then I went outside to look at the sticker. It said my car was parked in a fire lane. I was not. I was in my assigned spot, fully inside the lines, nowhere near a fire lane. The sticker was bogus. Melissa had planted it to manufacture a violation. I took photos from every angle, showing the painted lines, the spot number, the distance to the actual fire lane. Then I peeled the sticker off and saved it. The next morning, I got an email from the HOA portal. Subject line: Fire lane violation fine. The email said I had parked in a fire lane overnight and the fine was $150. It included a photo. The photo was taken from an angle that made it look like my car was closer to the red curb than it actually was. It was clever. If I did not have my own photos, I might have believed it. But I had photos, and I had video of Melissa planting the sticker. I kept my voice low, because my trump card needed perfect timing. I did not reply to the email. Instead, I went to the city parking office. I brought printed copies of my photos, the video on my phone, and the bogus sticker. I asked to speak to someone about HOA towing enforcement. They sent me to a clerk named Janet. She listened to my story, watched the video, and looked at the photos. She frowned. "This is not the first complaint we have had about this HOA," she said. "What do you mean?" I asked. She pulled up a file on her computer. "We have had 3 complaints in the past year," she said. "All involve the same person, Melissa Brown. Predatory towing, bogus fines, harassment. One person filed a police report." I leaned forward. "What happened with that report?" I asked. "It got an incident number," she said, "but no charges were filed. The HOA dropped the case to avoid it going public." "Can I get a copy of that incident number?" I asked. She hesitated. "Normally we do not share that," she said. "But if you are filing a formal complaint yourself, I can include it as a reference." "I am filing a formal complaint," I said. She printed a form and handed it to me. "Fill this out," she said. "Be specific. Include dates, amounts, and any evidence you have. We will open an investigation and contact the HOA management company directly." I filled out the form right there. I attached copies of my photos, a summary of the video, and a written statement describing the pattern. I also requested a copy of the prior incident number. Janet said it would take a few days to process. I thanked her and left. On the way back to my car, I got a text from the HOA portal. Another fine, this time for unauthorized guest overnight. I had not had a guest. I checked the timestamp on the alleged violation. It was the same night Melissa planted the fire lane sticker. She was throwing everything at me now, hoping something would stick. I had a hard work deadline that same week, and the HOA scheduled a hearing on the one day I could not miss work. The hearing notice came via email and mail on the same day. It said I had to appear before the board to address multiple violations, including unpaid fines and unauthorized parking. If I did not show up, they would file a lien packet against my unit. I called the management company and asked if I could reschedule. They said no. The hearing was mandatory, and the date was set. I could not miss the work deadline, so I hired an attorney for a 1-hour consult. Her name was Rachel, and she specialized in HOA disputes. I showed her everything. The photos, the video, the incident number, the bogus fines, the email trail, the hearing notice. She looked it over and nodded. "This is textbook harassment," she said, "and the HOA is violating open meeting rules. Did they give you 10 days notice for the hearing?" I checked the postmark on the envelope. 5 days, I said. "That is a violation," she said. "Minnesota statute requires 10 days written notice for any hearing that could result in a lien or fine. They cannot enforce anything that comes out of this hearing. If they try, you can challenge it in court and you will win." "What should I do?" I asked. "Show up," she said. "Bring your evidence. Submit it as a formal exhibit. Make them put it on the record. If they refuse, walk out and file a complaint with the state. If they do not drop this, I will represent you in a lawsuit and we will bury them." I left her office feeling better, but I still had to get through the hearing. I worked late to finish my deadline, then drove to the HOA office building at 6 in the evening. The hearing was in a conference room on the 2nd floor. Melissa was already there, sitting at the head of the table with 2 other board members. One was an older man in a suit. The other was a woman in her 40s with a tight bun and a permanent scowl. Melissa smiled when I walked in. "Thank you for coming," she said. "We have a lot to cover." Before we start, I said, "I need to confirm that this hearing was properly noticed under Minnesota statute. When was the notice mailed?" Melissa glanced at the other board members. Last week, she said. What date? I asked. She shuffled some papers. The 14th, she said. That was 6 days ago, I said. State law requires 10 days written notice for any hearing involving fines or liens. This hearing is not valid. The older man frowned. Is that true? He asked Melissa. She waved a hand. It is a technicality, she said. We can proceed. It is not a technicality, I said. It is the law. If you proceed and try to enforce anything that comes out of this hearing, I will challenge it in court, and I will win. My attorney already confirmed that. The room went quiet. The woman with the bun looked nervous. The older man leaned back in his chair. Maybe we should table this, he said. Melissa's face went red. No, she said. He owes fines. He is in violation. We are moving forward. I opened my folder and pulled out the first document. I have evidence that disputes every fine you have issued, I said. I also have video evidence of you planting a bogus violation sticker on my car at 11:40 at night. I am submitting this as a formal exhibit. I slid copies across the table. Melissa grabbed one and stared at it. Her face went from red to pale. Where did you get this? She asked. A neighbor, I said. He was walking his dog and saw you. It is all on camera. If you are enjoying this story, please hit the like button and subscribe for more HOA horror stories. I also have a copy of a police incident number from a prior HOA trespass attempt involving you, I continued. It shows a pattern of harassment and abuse. I am submitting that as well. I pulled out the second document. It was the incident number report Janet had given me. It detailed a complaint from another resident who had been targeted by Melissa 2 years ago. The resident had filed a police report after Melissa threatened to have their car towed while it was parked legally in their own assigned spot. The police had investigated, found no violation, and issued the incident number. The HOA had quietly settled and promised to stop. They had not stopped. They had just moved on to new targets. The older man took the report and read it. His face went gray. Melissa, is this true? He asked. She did not answer. She just stared at the table. I kept going. I also have payment confirmations proving I was never delinquent on any HOA fees, despite the fee blast you sent last month claiming I owed back dues. I have photos proving I was not parked in a fire lane when you issued that fine. I have a renewal confirmation for my decal that you claimed was expired. Every single fine you have issued is fraudulent. Every single one. The woman with the bun stood up. I did not know about any of this, she said. Melissa, you told us he was in violation. He is, Melissa said, but her voice was weak. No, I said, I am not. And if this board tries to enforce any of these fines or file a lien, I will file a formal complaint with the city and the state. I will also file a lawsuit for harassment, and I will win. My attorney is ready to go. The older man stood up. This hearing is over, he said. Melissa, I need to speak with you privately. Sir, thank you for your time. We will be in touch. I gathered my documents and left. I did not hear from them for 3 days. Then I got an email from the management company. It said the board had reviewed my case and all fines had been voided. It also said Melissa Brown had been removed from her position as communications director and stripped of access to the portal admin tools. The email did not say why, but I knew. The board had seen the video, the incident number, and the pattern. They had cut her loose to avoid a public records mess. I forwarded the email to Rachel. She replied an hour later. Good outcome, she wrote, but keep documenting. If they try anything else, call me immediately. I did not hear from the HOA for 2 weeks after that. Then the city parking office called. Janet said a management audit had been triggered by my complaint and 2 others that had been filed in the same week. The audit found that the Heritage Oaks Terrace Association had been running an illegal towing scheme. The tow company had been receiving kickbacks from the HOA for every car towed, and Melissa had been authorizing tows without proper verification. The city had issued a formal warning, and the HOA was now required to follow strict procedures for any towing action. If they violated the new rules, they would face fines. Janet also said the tow company had been banned from contracting with any HOA in the city for 2 years. The owner had tried to fight it, but the evidence was overwhelming. Phone records showed Melissa calling the tow line multiple times per week, often late at night, and the tow logs showed vehicles being hooked without proper violation confirmation. The whole operation had been a scam. I asked Janet what happened to the other residents who had been targeted. She said the management company had issued refunds for all bogus fines going back 18 months. Over 30 residents got money back. Some of them got hundreds of dollars. One couple got over $1,000. The HOA had been bleeding people dry, and no one had fought back until now. I got my refund check 2 weeks later. $325, covering the fire lane fine, the guest parking fine, and the overnight guest fine that never happened. I deposited it the same day. That night, I got a text from Marcus, the security guard who had filmed Melissa planting the sticker. He said the neighborhood group chat was blowing up. People were sharing stories about Melissa, about the tow trucks, about the fines. Someone had started a petition to recall the entire board. It had over 100 signatures in 3 days. The recall effort moved fast. Minnesota law allows HOA members to recall board members with a 2/3 vote. The petition hit the threshold in 10 days. The management company scheduled a special meeting. I did not go, but Marcus did. He sent me a play-by-play via text. The vote was overwhelming. All 3 board members were removed. Melissa did not even show up. The new board was elected the same night. The first thing they did was hire a new management company and ban predatory towing vendors. I thought that was the end of it. Then I got a call from Rachel, my attorney. She said Melissa had tried to sue the HOA for wrongful termination. The lawsuit claimed the board had violated her contract and damaged her reputation. Rachel said it was a bad lawsuit and it would not go anywhere, but the discovery process was going to be ugly. The HOA's lawyers were going to subpoena every email, every text, every complaint log entry, and every tow authorization Melissa had ever issued. If there was anything else buried in those records, it was going to come out. I asked Rachel if I needed to do anything. She said no. The HOA had everything they needed. My complaint and the city audit had opened the door. The rest was going to take care of itself. She was right. 3 weeks later, the lawsuit was dropped. Melissa's attorney had seen the records and advised her to walk away. The discovery had turned up evidence of embezzlement. Melissa had been billing personal expenses to the HOA account and covering it up with fake vendor invoices. The management company referred it to the police. I do not know if charges were filed, but Melissa moved out of the neighborhood 2 months later. The new board sent an apology letter to everyone who had been targeted. They also passed new rules limiting towing to verified violations only, requiring photographic evidence, and giving residents 24 hours to correct minor issues before any tow was authorized. The compliance hotline was shut down and replaced with an online portal where residents could submit concerns with full transparency. Every submission was logged, and every response was public. I have not had a single parking issue since then. My assigned spot is clear. My decal is valid. I park in guest spots when I need to, and no one says a word. The neighborhood feels different now. People are not afraid of the HOA anymore. The portal is quiet. The tow trucks are gone. I still see Marcus sometimes when he is walking his dog. He always waves and asks if I am staying out of trouble. I tell him I am trying. The down payment fund is back on track. I am putting away money every month and the HOA is not taking any of it. I still keep my documentation habits. I still take photos of my parking spot. I still save every email. But I do not need to anymore. The system that Melissa built is gone. The board that enabled her is gone. The tow company that profited from it is banned. A city complaint triggered a compliance review, and the HOA agreed in writing to stop predatory towing or face fines. It is all on the record now. If they ever try it again, the city will come down hard. I learned something from all this. HOAs get away with abuse because people do not fight back. They count on you folding. They count on you being too tired, too busy, too scared to push back. Melissa said it herself. I have done this before and people fold every time. She was right until she was not. I did not fold. I documented everything. I filed complaints. I got an attorney. I made them put it on the record. And when the moment came, I played my trump card and watched her whole operation collapse. If you are dealing with an HOA that is targeting you, do not fold. Document everything. Keep receipts. Take photos. Save emails. File complaints with the city, the state, whoever will listen. Get an attorney if you need one. Make them prove their case. Make them follow the rules. Most of the time they cannot. Most of the time they are bluffing, and when you call the bluff, the whole thing falls apart. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next HOA story.